They have 60. They have all these triggers. Not a single one's going to gain life. Not a single one, because one Screaming Nemesis did a little bit of damage. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Dinos are finally playable, and it is all because of the Kona unbanning. It feels like this card that was so talked about when it came out is finally being able to be abused like it deserved to be. It's kind of a weird way to word that. But if we can get this card tapped using any of our station abilities that were given to us from Edge of Eternity, being Sledge-Clad Speed Ship, or the Sunstar Dreadnought. Really tough way to word that. And two of the lands as well. We'll let them just kind of be for now. But Kona can be tapped. And then our second main, we can put in a lot of stuff like the Carnosaur, the Tyrants, and the Primal Hunger, or something else. And then the Sledge class also works in the same way to some extent, where we can station it up to 7 using 7 power. And then whenever it attacks, it puts in a creature. And we get some absurd games to happen with this deck. And we actually have a very good win rate with it as well. So with that said, let's go game. Well. Sure. Green, okay. Mountain. We have a cycle here. Put 2 more counters on the target vehicle or creature. We can cycle here. Golgari. Interesting. Well, let's just start barreling out creatures. See what's up. Most likely removal, like Shoot the Sheriff and stuff, is going to be pretty good against this overall. To go with the old Crafter. Lumber Wagon. Okay, so it's Saltai. Whenever this attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Interesting. So yeah, that seems like the right play, right? So we play here. We do this. We lose a little bit of value. We then get to play Forest, play Hammer Skull. This will get pumped. We then do the station mechanic off of the tapped Hammer Skull, or this one, the stunned Hammer Skull, I should say. And then this can come up and kind of get in on the action. It looks like maybe a board wipe coming, so kind of want to play a Vaultborn Tyrant over anything else. So here we get to go here, play this guy. This now triggers. Obviously, we'll take that action. And now we can do this, which will allow this to kind of attack. And then we can go like this. Put in a Vaultborn Tyrant. It triggers to happen. This doesn't really need to change, so we'll just decline here. And then, honestly, I don't really want to play this Landware Elves because we have such a good board. And a board wipe is so devastating. So I guess I'll wait. Like, I have way more than enough, right? I just really hope it's not the Smuggler's Surprise. Okay, I mean, fair enough. This does mill 5, right? Okay, so now they can saddle this or crew this. I don't know, dude. A random either or doesn't matter to me. This does have reach. I can make a thing fight. Dinosaur you control deals damage equal to its power to another creature. Interesting. So I can cycle this. We have options. Does this have haste? It does. Okay. So we play here. I should be able to find lethal here. Should. Done. We decline on both of these. Decline on this. Decline. Because it doesn't really matter. Now we move to combat. Now we attack. This triggers. We get to put a creature into play. We're going to put a Carnosaur. Now this happens, allowing us to pump this guy by a lot. And the main thing is the trample is what matters here. Now all this happens. Sure, I guess we'll cast that. When this enters, we can take action on both of these, I guess, but I'll take action on both just to be safe, so you can see we can replace it. And then we take action again. Now it's 7. We see where the blocks are, and then we apply trample to the other one. So they're going to get the wagon up, although it also could just be lethal regardless, right? But this is actually one less toughness. So it should allow us to actually do better here. They're blocking the trampler anyway. Weird. Okay. I mean, that's lethal regardless. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I don't know why they blocked a trample. Like, you should always just block the non-trample. All right. Either way, we win. I don't think they had much of a choice. We had it all covered. Does even say they did have enough to block that it would technically do it. We just cycle this, put 2 counters on a creature, and then it gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. So we could have saved a creature in terms that was blocking this. But yeah, I mean, that vehicle, really good. Really, really good. The game's not allowing me to do what I want. Let me go. Please. Sure. I mean, to spend this mana to cast or activate abilities. Okay, so we couldn't technically do this. Can draw a card. It can technically pump this if we'd like it to. Seems like we're against Kona as well. Could cycle this to get rid of the Kona whenever they play it. So that we're going to want to keep this around. Could also do this. Put 2 1/1 counter start creature, trample, get a draw. Make this like an actual kind of threat so they can't just sit back the whole game. Because, I mean, 3 damage is 3 damage. No way you, either way you kind of go about it. Then if they just remove it, they just remove it, right? So it's kind of whatever as well. Oh, bro, what are we doing? A full balloon? I got this thing is disgusting. Got a chair on his back. Ugh. Okay. It's definitely Kona. It's not particularly close. Alright, so I don't think, because they didn't play any ramp piece, I don't really have to save anything. So we can just play the hammer call here. Even if it does technically get a stun counter, it's probably worth attacking for 6. Or if we get like one of these in play, kind of getting that done is going to be awesome. 20 gives us a 20/20. That's kind of funny. The thing about these spacecraft is they're really awkward to remove. And it kind of gives you that sense of the... it takes away that like summoning sickness type effect. Yeah, so here it feels almost criminal not to swing this. Yeah, I mean, I might as well, I think. I understand it's a stun counter. But with as aggressive as our deck can be, I feel like just doing it. I should have attacked with this too. Shouldn't have really left it back, because that kind of implies I might have something. Other tapped legendary creature control have indestructible. That's kind of crazy. This is such a good card with Kona. I'm not really playing it. Kona, a weird card to just be randomly power spiked, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny on how this stuff works. They do nothing. Awesome. That's great for us. Afraid of removal maybe having some type of effect. But we'll go ahead and cycle this, put it on here, and just, you know, take our swings where we can. Nowhere else, sure. Nowhere else, a card I'm not going to worry about. They could do this one in step. The other thing about that is it's not a sorcery speed, I think. Oh no, station only is sorcery. Never mind. It is sorcery speed. For some reason I thought I wasn't. What? I thought I'd done it at like instant speed before. Maybe I haven't. I mean, clearly I haven't, because you can't, but counter's here, you know. Only has trample for then, but might as well just, you know, have it be a bit aggressive. They're already kind of in a weak state right now. I can't. Does my 3 matter here? Maybe. Kind of want to play it this way. Keep our Carnosaur up. 3 damage does set them in a weird spot, but if they end up using the Landware Elves and kind of some other resources this turn, then it doesn't really matter. This obviously grows if we're just able to play the Carnosaur, and then that's obviously a lot of trample damage, which maybe then implies maybe we should have gone for it. But most likely going to try to hold this land Morels up to answer Hammer Skull if I had to guess. This is quite a bit away, so indestructible not necessarily coming down anytime soon. What we got? Pinnacle. Fair enough, I guess. Six. Might as well do that. Just gonna sit there. I'm just gonna wait, I guess. Interesting card to play. Now the 3 damage feels brutal, right? Obviously they could have some form of interaction here in terms of protection, but we're gonna barrel this and hope it works. It sure does. Nice. You can do this, right? Yeah. Because then I can do exactly what I talked about before, where I can play this down and then station. Kind of do that thing and be able to maybe attack, maybe not attack. Just playing the Lore Keeper obviously gives that away, and I can play it next turn, whereas if I play it the opposite way, I can't. Shelter by Ghost, a card that my opponent could play. Obviously, I'm going to kind of hold these so I can fight a thing. You can play Mountain, go here into here. And then we can Shock, have this enter, and then have it fight a thing, which would be great. You may have a dinosaur you control deal damage equal to its power to another target creature. Obviously, Shelter by Ghost could cause a lot of problems. I will block here if that's what it requires of me to do. Oh, snap, brother. That's pretty good. I have 5 mana. Unfortunate. I don't even have to do this, right? Yeah. Enter tapped. Play here. Oh my gosh, bro. I'm actually mad. I didn't use this, and it can't be used to pay that. Oh boy. All right. Well, these are getting in, I guess. Galt is 5 mana next turn, so that's pretty sweet. I can do that. I can do that math. Will they block? There is an argument to throw this block. If they have a Shelter by Ghost, there's no argument to throw this block. Dude. Man, when just Arena screws up my tap. Punt. Bad punt. Bad punt here. We do 2 damage here. This is going to go down to a 1/1. So they're both going to die here. So now they go to no creatures. So, sure. Kind of a punt. Because this is power and toughness equal to the kind of creatures they have. They had 2, so it was a 2/2. Then they went to 1. Now they only have 1. Pretty cut and dry on that front. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Slam the big boy down. Slam the other big boy down. No goes. They're just going to bounce off of each other, so not really a point. I'd much rather use this as a blocker. Shelter by Ghost can now happen. Taking who knows what, that, sure. But now if I find another land, it's not even at that draw. Of course it's you every time. I hate you. I hate this land so much, man. The land is infuriating. Just because it feels like every time I'm like, okay, if I draw the land, I'm fine. And then I draw this tap land that may or may not ever be used. I mean, obviously it'll be used, but we'll see. Now we can kind of come in. We have to pay like 6. I will tap this. I will not let that happen again. This is only going to trigger once. I will get a Gulta back, so that'll be awesome as well. And then these are only going to be 1/1, so there's not really anything threatening happening. If they attack for some reason, obviously I double block. And no harm, no foul, really. They keep on top. Knight Errant of Eos is rotated, so I don't even have to worry about that card. Yeah, now I'll draw the untapped source, sure, why not? Red. This one. Yes. Doesn't really matter which one I keep. Auto pay. Target a dinosaur you control. Target a creature I don't control. And then pay the ward. Delta enters. I attack. Probably could have just attacked with the Landware Elves too, to be honest, but we're sending 8 in. They have to, at minimum, throw one of these tokens in front of the Hammer Skull. Like, it would make 0 sense not to. Okay. They didn't time all the way out. They just... Maybe they were thinking. It happens sometimes. Sometimes you get to timer and you kind of just have to see. There's a Ghalta that's a 12/12 with trample that is by far enough for lethal. But we can just do the math on their life total. So 12 is kind of guaranteed to make a contact towards their life total. So right now they're at 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, minus 12. And then the rest kind of filters in after that. So, all right. Bye-bye, Mr. Opponent, I suppose. You're going to try Dino, Dino, Dino hit for 6. Dino held back for 6. Maybe that's a Dino. In there, brother. One land to rule them all. Draws. Every card in my hand is a 3-minute. I mean, I just cursed it, bro. Cursed. I just said, oh. Not what I thought it was going to be. That's for sure. Will I trade this? Worst trading. Oh, we hit it! I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, let's throw 6 in there. Tally up the ring. Obviously a block happens. That does increase their delirium count, but we do get 3 through, and then we have 6 kind of on the back burner. And then we're always able to put a Screaming Nemesis in play. So some big kind of delirium double attack we can kind of interact with well with the Screaming Nemesis. Yeah, there's a Terra, sure. This card right here is so good, by the way. Also, the card I think I'm putting them on is a Lightning, by the way. I do think Lightning is the card of choice. So let's play another Hammer. And let's attack for 6. This card works so well with Lightning. I honestly want to play Lightning as a deck. It's so weird. I feel like Final Fantasy had just come out, Edge of Eternities, then comes out pretty close, and now there's Spider-Man spoilers. It just feels like I'm not being able to kind of like soak in the set and really play it quite deeply. It just also, I've been like incredibly busy with cons and stuff, so I probably feel a little bit more rushed than it actually is. There could be a shelter here, I guess. I have 12 damage on the board, so it does make this game a lot more awkward than our opponent was probably ever imagining this game going to be. And you play there. Obviously, there's a good block attempt. The land comes down. I think they've already played. No attack here, because that wouldn't make a ton of sense. These don't have trample, and I feel pretty confident. A little part of me wants to slam a Screaming Nemesis and attack in. There's a pause, so a get lost is definitely possible. Again, they only have a land here, so off of this, I don't feel near as bad. A Lightning could come in, a Fear missing out, and I could just die. Overprotect, okay. Interesting. I do block a little, which is okay. Could lose to an Overprotect, Fear missing out. Like, if a breakout happens, hitting a Fear and then an Overprotect happens, that's 7 for Fear hits. That's what? It went to 7, Overprotect's 3, so 14 plus 2. It's a little short somehow. Okay. But this had to block, so obviously it's no longer kind of in the equation. Could attack with Screaming Nemesis, see if they block, obviously. Especially if they remove my Hammer Skull. And then kind of cycling this, dealing 3 damage to this does wonders. It's kind of weird because I feel like I'm in this deck to do some other shenanigans, like play the ships and stuff, but I just haven't been able to do that. Fight? Overprotects a card, so I'm just sending it upstairs so no life gain can happen. Sure. They hold back, which is definitely a decision. Do I wait a turn and use this Carnosaur, but Overprotect again is a card I have to deal with? I could attack for 6. They clearly have to block with something. And if they block with something, they could try to potentially block to trade off the Hammer Skull because they have to do it anyway. And then we might get good Carnosaur value. Let's see. Stun counter here. Again, they have to block. I just let one creature go here. Unfortunately for them, we have the answer. Now that's gone, and then that gets picked off as well. I don't even know what that card is. Honestly, pretty sick card to be playing. Breakout. Oh, here it comes. Miss! Oh, what a brutal day. A free attack could be definitely seen here. This has trample. I feel like that's more of a card I would be having attacking. We go Landware Elf. We have this up. I think I just hold Carnosaur. I'd hit another land. I probably would have prioritized playing this. Alright, sweet. We pop that out of the way. Everything's coming together well. And now this can't attack, because obviously there's a Hammer Skull. Unless they have a second shelter that they've been kind of playing around. Maybe they do. Bushwhack, fight there. Obviously, kind of a decision they have to make. Being at 5, it's a bit tough, obviously. Hey! Honestly, Kona's good here, but I think making sure our Hammer Skull can attack again is actually the better play. Because obviously they have to block, and then they have one card here. We kind of won this game on the fact that their deck backfired with the breakout not being able to do much. And then we can go Kona after and kind of set that up. We have a 9 attack here, and not really a whole lot I'm afraid of from our opponent. So yeah, I mean, we take away that game. I do think there was a small chance that we end up dying there, because obviously breakout into fear can cause a lot of problems, but we come away with it. Very sweet. Okay, go first here, maybe here. We'll see what's up. Maybe just shock this in, play this. This obviously could get answered as well, right? But maybe shock this in, maybe don't shock this one in, just play this guy. Kind of where I'm at. And then we can just attack for 2. Don't really have to take any more damage. Get the kind of creature count up. Maybe we can get this down soon. Maybe we can play this. Cycling, it's not bad, but an 8/8 for 5 makes this obviously pretty cheap. And then it also puts a lot of pressure on the board. A creature that they have to kind of answer. It does have trample, but we'll see. And then maybe even get to use it as a protection spell. Honestly, just play mountain, double attack. You see blue, white. Could be a 1 card. Pinnacle, right? So high noon, 1 spell a turn. Okay. In. Can't really answer the Hammer Skull and both the pieces on the board. This is only 3 mana, by the way. If this stays, obviously. It does become a lot more if they do take care of both of these creatures. High noon kind of making things a bit weird, I assume. I think regardless, we'll probably end up cycling here. Or we get to use the maps. Nice. Hammer Skull, of course. Let's activate here. A land. Let's play here. Day of Judgment could definitely be a card that my opponent plays against me. So I think that that's more likely than literally anything else. So I'm going to attack for 2. I'm going to pass here. And my plan is to cycle this to give this indestructible. Day of Judgment. Make my read incredible. Okay. Interesting. They can't cast another spell. Sure. There's a Carnosaur. Thankfully, on a lot of my stuff, I don't really even have to cast spells. Plus 10. I can activate map, or I can just play a Carnosaur. And attack with this. Let's activate map here. I'm overloading a bit, but feels necessary. Go to combat. Okay. Interesting. Pass. You're gonna blow up your own high noon. Again, cannot cast spells during their turn. It does not stop me from actually cycling this ability. Dark. This is Foundations is where you're from. Okay. If a card is legal that you thought rotated, it just got printed in Foundations. Don't worry about it. If they attack here, I'll take it. Yeah, I couldn't imagine so. You can only cast one spell a turn anyway, so the discover mechanic here just doesn't work. I knew just Tidebinder. Okay. Interesting. Interesting enough, that's for sure. You give trample? Hey, they have a lot of creatures. How much of this will they be willing to trade? Only one spell a turn. I don't know. I mean, any trade, they have to double block here. Right? Just do I want to play the 12-12? Yeah, I think so. Pause here. Obviously, this is the activation. And if they want to trade two creatures off, then so be it. Also, that card is a legendary creature, so if I do draw another one and I want to play with haste, then obviously some stuff to go along there. Never also let it do this. Just assign two here. You never know if they can randomly throw a counter somewhere. You might as well just split it up to go over each one once. Typically, it won't matter ever, but it could. So you always play that it does. Sure. Do you feel confident enough attack? They do. All right. It's possible that I'm just losing now. Pretty good chance, honestly. Ballborn Tyrant. Pop. Click. All right. Don't need that one. I'm obviously going to play the Hammer Skull after I attack here, I think. Enters. Gift was a prime. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, and opponent controls. Reach. I'm good on that one. Combat 3. Hit. Hammer Skull. We can always play like a Dino on the back end being the yearling, and then we get there. Okay. All right, gonna go first here. It seems like kind of a really slow hand, but having this is going to help a lot with Kona. So we get to play Hammer Skull, maybe play Kona. This land does enter tap, so obviously we're fine. And if we do draw another tap land here, we don't necessarily get punished for that. Or a shock land, for example. Like, we're pretty fine with that. Go into Verge, play Hammer Skull. life gain is a Magic the Gathering deck. This is weirdly better. Oh man. Yeah, so we kind of want to get the ship going anyway, right? I'd much rather have this going. What does this do at 12? We get the ship going. And then I can just play Kona, put in a Vaultborn Tyrant, and then also do this, right? They tap out. This is absolutely incredible for us. I feel like this game just... I almost feel like the game just ended, which is wild to say. This is missed. Land come in. Kona come in. We do this. That happens. This happens. Please let full control mode happen. I'm so sorry. At the beginning of the second main, we're through combat. Never mind. It doesn't matter. I thought for some reason I was going to get to do this. And then we'll obviously do this. Now our creature's ready to come up and do the kind of the shenanigans. Obviously don't want to tap this next turn. And now we have a thing where Kona can attack. And then we can also just tap it down as well. But that goes in the graveyard. Raise to pass, obviously, a issue that we might have to answer another day. Vaultborn Tyrant going to have to gain us a lot of life here. Amalia coming in. Life Creed Duo in the graveyard. Amalia triggering again. Land go to hand. Obviously, attack's probably not the best of all time. Now I kind of want to do the opposite type stuff here. This is going to put a creature in before. Now we're going to obviously station here the Kona. Don't need it going to combat anytime soon. The flyer is good. Hammer Skull can come in for free. Everything can kind of come in for free. So we go to combat. Obviously we double attack here. I will put in this Vaultborn Tyrant, because they're going to have to do a lot of damage. Or Amalia is going to have to obviously win the game. One flyer blocks, obviously. At 6 hits and makes contact. Vengeful does a trigger. And now I do need to find a way to have the Screaming Nemesis do a damage in some way or another. Double draw here. We just need the right cards. We unfortunately do not find them. And now I am just going to continue to push out my creatures. Take another draw too. Put our life all the way up. Thankfully I played one more game. I actually thought about not playing another game, which is kind of a gross thought now. But now what we get to do is we get to play a Screaming Nemesis, activating this, hitting the Nemesis, taking all their life gain away. So this card gets shut off, this card gets shut off, and the entire deck that our opponent's running just shuts down entirely. But we do have to deal with this turn. Also, this combo is just not viable anymore, right? So this can obviously blow everything up, but with as much advantage as we're making, we should be fine overall. Here's a lot of sack stuff. I am at 39. Still not going to be enough. Wow, the lands. But they are almost halfway through their deck, so it's honestly probably about right. Okay, no mana up. Lock this in. Play a Screaming Nemesis. Kona. Go to combat. Everything in. Station. Hammer Skull. Double draw here. Hammer Skull. Another Screaming Nemesis. Sure. They're not legendary, so, you know. They can obviously throw blocks and then sack and do surveil. So we're going to kind of let them do all that before I decide to just hit this Nemesis. Or I can do it in response right away. I kind of want to see how much they commit to doing it before I actually go all out here. Sure. You do it on the second resolution, I think. Or there's probably no way we get to answer this on Malia regardless, right? Sure. I guess Amalia does have to hit. So we can take a gamble here that it misses. So now they have to sacrifice another thing and hope Amalia hits. Then also, again, it shuts down the whole life gain shenanigan, right? So they have to kill me in another way. Vengeful Blood Witch doing like a million sacks or having a couple of them. Because again, the damage still happens, but this misses. It does not. So thankfully for them, their Amalia stays. Although it seemed to hit a couple of times. Alright. Maybe their goal is to have Amalia go up, but again, Amalia will not. Life gain does not happen anymore, so Amalia is now kind of permanently an 8/8. Ballborn Tyrant dies, we get another one. Honestly, my greatest fear right now is decking myself. A second draw, all come in. Earn his ability. But another one, why not? You have a Laneware Elf. I did already play everything I can, so might as well play out this. You have this. We got a lot of good blockers. I have all 4 Hammer Skulls within my top 30, so, you know. Let it be how it is. Enough mana for them to do everything in the world. Obviously, raise the past. There's a lot of triggers that does literally nothing. Just watch. They'll do damage here. They have 60. They have all these triggers. Not a single one's going to gain life. Not a single one, because one Screaming Nemesis did a little bit of damage. And my opponent, instead of killing me, is now at 18 still. This will never do anything. Again, this only does damage. They are gaining 5, theoretically a 5 life thing. They had everything that they wanted. The raise to pass was there. The creatures were in the graveyard, but it just does not matter. And that is how valuable Screaming Nemesis is. This card right here honestly got the biggest kind of post-ban, post-rotation buff that you could have seen, because these graveyard decks, these life gain decks, and all that get absolutely countered by this card. And without Go for the Throat being in the format, without the like kind of Esper Pixie being slightly worse because the Hopeless Nightmares can't kind of drain you out of the game, so you're always kind of able to set this card up. This card is very, very good right now, and I fully believe it is the reason we can ever win a game like this. Because again, we're at 48 against the kind of what feels like infinite life gain deck. They had 68 plus triggers on the stack and lost, so it's pretty cool. We move on with that and on to the outro. So here we are with the deck that feels like got kind of unrestricted with the kind of spaceship ability, or what is it, station ability. We have station, saddle, and crew kind of all in the format, and I just kind of blended them all together, and it doesn't really work that way, but apparently in my brain it does. So we have a lot of ways to just go ahead and tap down and get a card like Kona online. And honestly, in a deck like this, Kona is good, but this almost feels like the better option, being the Sledge class lead ship. But obviously there's a lot of cards that answer Spaceship or blows up artifacts, same as creatures. And when you get this card and this card online together, it feels absolutely absurd. The only thing I think this deck is missing, and honestly, we had a really good record today, so it's kind of hard to say that overall. The only thing I do truly feel like we're missing is a effect that gives a lot of our stuff haste. We have a lot of turns where we are able to just play a Galta, and then the Galta has to sit there for a turn. And obviously against kind of aggro decks, or not aggro, control decks and stuff, it becomes kind of a problem. So which card would we do? Which one would we recommend? Or a card like maybe Smuggler's Surprise, for example, to get a lot of this kind of stuff in there for cheap as well. But we already are kind of cheating stuff in, so something like that seems bad. So honestly, to me, it feels like it should be. Oh, it's not a horror. They're the enduring courage. It could be this card. This card is pretty strong. There might be. I feel like there's another one, or maybe the artifact that does it as well. The dowsing dagger, I think it is. Have to sneeze, maybe. The dowsing device. Whenever this artifact and other artifact you control enters, up to one target creature you control gets a 1/0 and gains haste. So it doesn't necessarily work all too well, I guess, in this deck. So maybe the other one we had was kind of the better option, but it did just feel like everything's good, or getting to cheat this in, things like that. Obviously, we have to declare attackers from this, because obviously whenever this spaceship attacks, so we don't get that value. But having a big card like this, playing it right now in the way that Standard has kind of evolved into, is honestly not as impactful as it could be. This is only really impactful because of a card like this, not this, that allows us to randomly put 12 power on a very small creature. This is a 2-mana creature, so in a case where we get to play this and kind of sneak attack this card, especially on something like the sledge, where this is attacking along with this, and then all of a sudden a Golta hits the battlefield, and then this is now a 12/2 with trample, obviously is a lot different of a scenario than just playing this down and then going, okay, go, please do not remove it with any removal spell ever or any board wipe ever. So it is definitely interesting, and honestly, this deck was pretty fun. I do think the craft guide is a bit tough on this one, if I remember quite right. I do think Screaming Nemesis obviously has evolved a bit into being a really good, valuable card, as I kind of talked about in the last bit of that game. But this is definitely going to be way more of an expensive deck to kind of construct because it's so expensive. But Screaming Nemesis is a card that you probably have, and Carnosaur probably one of them as well. But the rest of this, I could definitely see nobody having. Maybe Vaultborn Tyrants, Landware Elves. Obviously, this stuff's easy. But these are the cards I could see at most people probably having or having access to if they've played aggro decks or big dumb dino decks before. And maybe this card as well kind of fits in that slot as well, because a 3-mana 6/6 obviously had a lot of appeal to it, but unfortunately it was just a bit too slow with Monstrous Rage. Somehow our 1-mana card was still better than our 3-mana 6/6 at any given time, which still just seems crazy to me. So that's kind of the take on the deck. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Kona is a very sweet card. Obviously there's a lot of other things you can be doing with it, like for example putting in omniscience and stuff, but I kind of like this variation the most, or at least I've only played this variation, but from the outside looking in, I like this variation a lot. So with that said, I hope you all enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.